In this lesson, we'll put some finishing touches on our site plan. Alright, so I added the rest of my text here, and I'll kind of show you what I added and why I added it. I basically want this site plan to tell a story about what's going on within this property line. So I called out everything I could think of that could be of importance to anyone. Anywhere my property line was placed, basically on all four sides, I placed a multi-leader calling out my property line. In this case down here, I did two, but basically on all four sides, you'll notice I called out my property line. I even called out my wooden fencing, wooden panel fencing, just to let the person who's viewing this know exactly what's going on. I called out all my landscaping, my sewer lines, my mains, my utility poles, things of that nature. So what we can do at this point is add some finishing touches to finish telling the story of this. So let's start on this side here. Like this crazy thing, person looking at this, they might not know what's going on. But once we add some text, they'll probably know what's going on. So I'm going to go with text. We'll actually go with a single line text. I'm going to place it right there like so. And it's going to be gigantic at first, but I'm not worried about it. We'll make some adjustments to its properties. So what we can do is we can add addresses onto these blocks or building names. So I'm going to go 120 building A. And I'll hit enter to accept that. And then I'm going to click on the text I just wrote, both of these pieces here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to their properties, and I'm just going to adjust their text type. So we'll change it from that 23 feet to 1 feet. And I want to be consistent with what we set for my multi-leaders. So we'll go with that. I'll hit enter. We'll move this out the way. And we'll see how that works. Might have to move this up because these were two single lines. For these guys, we may want to do multi-line since we'll actually be hitting enter. And that text looks like it's going to work a little bit, but I want to make it just a little bit larger. So I'm going to scale this up. So we'll go to scale. I want to double the size of this. So I'll say 2.0. And that's going to make it a lot more easy to read here. So now what we can do is we can actually move this to a place like so. Bingo. And then I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to copy it. That way I can maintain those standards. And now all I got to do is click on anything I want to change. And this one will be building B. So it's starting to make sense now. Now when someone looks at this, building there, building here. So that'll be 120. And we'll do a similar thing for this one here. I'm just going to copy that one. And we could put the address here for this one. We could actually put the full address in this one if you wanted to. So we could say 120 Northwest 123 First Street. And that way they'll know that that's the address, or that's our main thing in question. We can go to the neighbor here. We'll do the same thing. I'll grab this one here. I'll copy it, pick it out here, drop it right there, and we're going to put an address for this one. And this one will be 124. We need to change the hours to 122. So this will be 124. Oops, didn't catch. So I'll go change that 0 to a 4, hit enter, bingo. And we need to do the same thing here. We'll change this 0 to a 2. Enter. Cool. So now you can see the benefit of labeling this, and I could probably stand to move this here. That might help out just a little bit as well. So another thing we'll need for our site plan here, I mean, if we wanted to, we could do this for each building around, but I think you get the understanding, is we can create a really quick graphic for our true north direction. It's very important. It's the last thing we did. It could be the first thing you do. But the key is to make sure you have this in your drawing. You always want to know where your true north direction is, so that person reading this, when they're reading or communicating with this to others, they can speak in directional terms. And, it's good to know which way you're oriented as well. So I'm just going to use a real basic circle to get this accomplished. And a polyline. And I'm just going to turn on my object snaps. So we'll go there, there, and I'm just going to use a triangle, and I'm going to point that in the direction of my north. And I know it's north because of this as well. So let's hatch this guy in. We'll go with a solid. And now all we need to do is add a letter. We'll go with text here. I can grab one of the text we've already used. I'll place that guy right in here. Double click on it, and I'm going to replace that number with a capital N. And I'm going to center that in our area here. I'm going to scale it just a bit, make it just a little bit larger. So we'll say 1.25. We'll see what that does for us. Nice. Then I'm going to offset this. So we'll go with offset. We'll say 3 inches. That should create a nice little graphic showing our true north direction. So when you have this in place, depending on how you plan on displaying this, you can have this either in your title. It'll be located down here, say site plan, and you have your title. Or if your layout is maybe even a closer zoom in of this, you can have it down in this area if you wanted to. But let's create a real quick little title here, and we'll place it down there. So I'm just going to grab a line real quick. And we're still on our text layer, so that's a good thing. And I'm going to grab what we just created here. If you wanted to, you could create that as a block. That way you can always use this a little bit later on. But we'll just keep it kind of as is right now. Set that there. Object snaps are on, and I'm going to move this to about right here. Now I'm just going to add some text, and I'm going to say exactly what this is. So I'm going to take some text from here. I'll bring this right down here, and I'm definitely going to increase the size of my text. So we'll scale that. We'll say 3 times. So we'll say 3 times that size, 3.0. That looks like it might work here. Get in position nicely. Double click in there, and now I'm going to type in, whatever you want to put in there. Mine's site plan. I'm also going to include a scale. So depending on the scale you choose for your site plan, it's up to you. I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to make sure that I notate my scale. So I have a title, my true north with the graphic here, and I'm also going to say my scale. And I'm going to scale this one, and I'm going to bring this one down just a tad. We'll say 75% of its size there. Double click in there, and I'm going to say scale equals, or we can say scale will be like this. So we'll say 1 inch equals, we'll say 16 feet. So there we go. We've just created our site plan with pretty much all the main elements you're going to need. So we basically started from scratch with nothing. We brought in a basic floor plan, and we started to create our property line, our bounds, areas around surrounding buildings. But the main thing we really focused on was developing this site and calling out everything that's going on within this site. After all, we wanted to tell a story about our site. So not only do we know how this building relates to the site with its window positioning and how it's oriented, we also have an idea of what's going on with the landscaping, the utilities, the access onto the site, as well as our property line and how this is actually enclosed with some fencing. But we also know what's going on with our surrounding properties and how this property relates with the surrounding area. So I hope you learned something from this lesson or in this course on creating site plans. So you should be able to tackle any project of any size, really. So I'll be happy to be able to show you this, and I look forward to teaching you in future courses.